Hi everyone, Tundile here and welcome to the Africa History channel. Based on your feedback, we're pausing the Fulani History series. We're trying a new format where series will be shorter, 2 episodes at most, and the videos themselves will also be shorter. This is the first in this format and it is on the history of the rise of the Ashanti. Let's get started. Of all the empires that were in the area that became known as the Gold Coast by Europeans who visited it and is now called Ghana, the most famous is the empire founded by the Ashanti. Rising from the late 1600s until the early 1900s, when the British annexed it into their colonial empire, it was the dominant power in the Gold Coast area for over 200 years. Yet, much of what is popular about the founding of this great empire is often the more legendary version of the tale. The legend goes thus: the different clans that made up the pre-empire Ashanti had been under another Akan people, the Denkira. Then Osei Tutu of the Oyoko clan and his priestly advisor Okomfo Anokie gathered the other clan leaders in Kumasi, and at this meeting Anokie called the golden stool of the Ashanti to descend from the sky, unifying all the clans with an oath sworn on this stool. They then declared independence and waged war to seal their independence from their former Denkira overlords. While this founding legend is important, it masks the important state building and politics in the area around the basins of the Ofin and Pra rivers that led to the emergence of the Ashanti Empire. So, as we do on this channel, let's dive into the actual history of the rise of the Ashanti in 2 episodes. In this episode, we'll set the stage by looking at the precursors of the Ashanti culminating in the Denkira. The forest area where these states formed was a key source of gold for the Sahelian empires of Ghana, Mali, and then Songhai into the 1500s, with the rivers literally flowing with gold. Much of the gold that these Sahelian empires sold into the trans-Saharan trade to the north was from this area. However, when Europeans arrived the coast in the 1400s, the direction of trade changed and the Akan began to sell their gold at the coast to the Europeans. The key place this trade took place was at the Elmina Castle, built originally by the Portuguese, but at this time had now been taken over by the Dutch. Before the Denkira themselves, the dominant power in the area was known as Adansi. The Denkira capital of Abankeceso was in fact founded by refugees fleeing from Adansi dominance. With the rise of a powerful Denkira Hene called Bwamponsem, the Denkira were able to defeat Adansi in 1659 and became rulers of the region. A key reason why he was able to do this was his earlier adoption of European firearms, which he got from trading gold and slaves with the Dutch. Between the 1650s and the 1680s, firearms changed the nature of warfare among the Akan, and Denkira under Bwamponsem were among the earliest adopters. The Ashanti clans to the north were their tributaries at this time. Many of these clans were required to send their princes as hostages to the Denkira capital to ensure their good behavior. One of such princes was the Oyoko prince from Kumasi, Osei Tutu. While he was there in the 1660s and the 1670s, he would learn enough from watching the Denkira firearm revolution to defeat them in future. On his return to Kumasi in the late 1680s, he made obtaining and training with firearms a priority for his people. He had left Denkira earlier to Akwamu, further east, and when he returned home, he returned with 300 Akwamu firearm-wielding soldiers. Now, the vast amount of gold that could be mined from the Ofin Pra basin, which could be extracted by artisanal mining, was the source of wealth and power for whoever controlled this basin. Bwamponsem consolidated his hold quickly after his victory, becoming very wealthy. His gold store was called the Sekandan, literally gold house. He also waged wars against the Twifo in the south to secure the route to the coast, so he could trade the gold and slaves directly with the Dutch at Elmina. To meet the demand for the gold, Bwamponsem would turn the whole area into one big gold extraction operation. Client states who could not meet their quota of gold would have their leaders severely punished. An instance in Nyinawunsu tradition records that their people were beheaded when they were unable to meet the gold quota Denkira demanded in those days. This caused a simmering, widespread discontent among Denkira subjects. While Bwamponsem was alive, his reputation and might was enough to stop this discontent from spilling over into open revolt. He reigned for 40 years until 1699, when he was succeeded by Ntim Giakari as Denkira Hene. While Giakari inherited Bwamponsem's arrogance and desire for gold, he lacked his predecessor's charisma and authority. At this time, developments in Kumasi put it on a collision course with Denkira. Osei Tutu had returned to take the throne after his predecessor and uncle, Obiri Yeboah, was killed in battle with the nearby Doma people. With his new firearm-based reforms, he soundly defeated the Doma, avenging his uncle. However, both of them were under Denkira's dominion, and Ntim Giakari, the new Denkira Hene, would not stand for his tributaries fighting wars without permission. Osei Tutu had also stopped paying tribute to Denkira since he took the throne. Furthermore, he gave refuge to a fugitive from Denkira called Oduro Agien Samu, who was wanted for questioning by Giakari in connection to the circumstances of the death of Bwamponsem. All these were provocations, likely deliberate, knowing how Giakari would react. And the reaction was an epic miscalculation by Giakari. He sent messengers to Kumasi to make these demands of Osei Tutu. 1. To fill the huge brass pan the messengers carried with pure gold as tribute. 2. To send the Denkira Hene a large amount of precious coral beads worn by kings' wives as a sign of submission. 3. That Osei Tutu and all other Ashanti clan chiefs must send their favorite wives to the Denkira Hene as his wives. 4. That Osei Tutu and all other Ashanti chiefs must send their favorite sons to Denkira as hostages. These demands succeeded in doing just what Osei Tutu hoped it would. It galvanized the other Ashanti chiefs to be willing to unite behind him to face Denkira. Buoyed by this support, Osei Tutu said an emphatic no to these demands, setting the stage for the showdown that would lead to the rise of the Ashanti Empire. Join us in the next episode of this series on the rise of the Ashanti. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us grow the channel.